So, good morning, or whenever you're watching. It's actually evening right now. And I had to record this because I had to record this now while the thoughts are still fresh in my mind. And I might move to the backyard because there are kids playing outside. So just follow me and I'll talk and I'll explain. Hi, this is not the video that I wanted to record after like a month and a bit of not filming any content, but I want to talk about AI, and I want to talk about one of my favorite content creators, okay, Hank Green. And if you don't know what's been happening, you should look it up. And the fact that he has been using various or some shape or form of AI to aid in the creation of his videos, either looking up, researching topics, but not to write the scripts. Now, depending on who you talk to, either he's been using and he's lying about it, but according to Hank Green, he does not use AI to script the content, to write the script that he is pronouncing. And when I saw Hank's video, I realized, like, okay, he's being very honest. He's being very upfront. He's being candid as a YouTuber can be, because you can be candid and people still might say, like, oh, that's not authentic. That's not authentic, but that's another story, okay? And then today, I saw another content creator that I follow, that I like, that I appreciate. His handle is the Anime Man, Joey, and I'm going to mispronounce his name, so I'm just going to call him Joey. I might link him. I don't know. I don't know if it's allowed, but I wanted to respond to his content. Okay, now there are dogs barking. In the front there were kids, now it's dogs. And he made the point that kind of struck a chord in me, because I have mentioned in previous videos that teachers, not just myself, teachers often use AI to create lessons, to create content for their students, for their lessons. Some wholly depend on it, and others, like myself, will pick and choose what we need. But Joey, the Anime Man, mentioned that if you are to be creative, there has to be, and I'm paraphrasing what he's saying, okay? He didn't say exactly that. There must be some struggle, some process. You cannot be creative if you're depending on something else. And I wholly agree with that. I totally agree with that. I agree with his video. I agree with, and if you depend too much on a crutch, you cannot be as effective and as productive, because, and I even mentioned it to my students, if you depend too much on technology to write, to correct, to review, when you are going to be faced with a situation where you cannot use that technology, will you survive? And that's what I hammer into them. Like, you have to create a scenario where, yes, it can be useful, but it cannot be your only method. And this is where I put my asterisks, okay? And I put in my 2 cents. I don't want to say the government, because it's not just the government, but there has been societal norms that have shifted over the last few years in regards to productivity, technology, and especially, I don't want to talk about other spheres, but I'm going to talk about education. And a lot has been foisted upon teachers to use certain platforms and certain tools in order to become more productive and to create better lessons plans. You know, it there has been a shift. Do we call that a paradigm shift? We call that a paradigm shift, I think. Okay? There has been a shift in how we produce as teachers. And all of last year at school, we've been having during our staff meetings, teachers have been invited. Hey, why don't you share how you use AI? And like the school board, even the government last year, 2 years ago, basically said, hey, if we've got a teacher shortage, if we got if we need to create more materials because we don't have the money, we don't have the budget, use AI. What happened a few months ago? It was shown that a company basically spent $500 million on AI and the use of AI within the company, and didn't realize they had spent that much money. Eventually, the government will realize that I know they're cutting corners, I know they're cutting budgets, I know there's like a whole bunch of problems, but you can't solve everything with AI. But they foisted it on us. They're basically saying, hey, go ahead, use it. We don't have enough money to give you to buy textbooks, to update the textbooks, to buy supplies. We don't have that money, but please use AI. All right? They don't have enough money to release teachers to create new and updated exams because, parentheses, we have a database where we can use already created exams for mid-year exams, and some of them are old. How old are they? One of those exams I created in 2010. And it's still there, and it hasn't been updated. And when a teacher told me, oh yeah, it's been updated, no. I checked all the articles. They still date 2009. Okay? So that's how old they are. So they don't have enough money to release teachers to create proper exams, but they will tell us, oh, go ahead, use the AI platforms and AI tools that are available to you to create exams and to create content for your students. And to be honest, they're horrible. The exams that ChatGPT or Gemini create, the questions are horrible. So we have to, as educators, review everything. If we are going to use AI, we have to review. And I'm sorry, if you're telling me I have to create a very clever and well thought prompt, I can spend that time creating the exercise myself, creating the questions for the evaluation myself. If you're asking me to think of a well thought, those 10 minutes that can take, it can take up to 10 minutes to come up with something really, really, because you'll test one prompt like, oh, well, that's horrible. Let me create another one. So I create another one. It can take up to 10 minutes to find that sweet spot. And that time that I've wasted, those 10 minutes that I've wasted, I could have spent them creating 3 or 4 different questions for the evaluation that I wanted. and but they're expecting us to be productive, to be efficient, to be creative with limited financial resources. So many of us are resorting to AI and technology to be productive, to have that creativity. Now, does it facilitate my work? Yes, Because if I'm tired of writing the same basic sentences, sometimes I will ask Gemini, because I don't use ChatGPT, I use Gemini. Hey, peux-tu me créer 10 phrases qui contiennent, and I tell what I want to see. And I will look at them and I'll go like, oh, that one sucks, and I replace it with something else where I tweak it. And it does come in handy sometimes. Or if I want, could you generate a list of words, a list of vocabulary words pertaining to this topic? And then I'll ask for like, I don't know, 25, and I pick the best 20. Okay? Yes, it has replaced Google. And that's another problem, because now other websites that would answer those questions that we have, because they do exist, are being replaced by AI. And it is problematic, but it's not because we are actively searching for that. You know what I mean? I will use, what was it, the term LLM? Well, I use Notebook LM sometimes, and I will basically ask it, could you consolidate these 10 Google slide decks that I created over the last 6 years and create one massive one, please? Like, sometimes I will do that, but I won't ask it to create something out of nothing, because like, no. I still want to create. I still want to have that power. So it's, oh, I'm hiding the camera. So to respond to both Hank and Joey the Anime Man, I don't want to say the line is fine. I think the line is murky. To what extent does AI and technology become a crutch or a spark that will allow you to be creative again? You know what I mean? It's murky, because every time you use it, yes, you do get that dopamine hit. It's like, oh my God, look at this. This is so pretty. This is so shiny. And I have had moments like that. I've had moments like that. But then I look at it and I'm going, yeah, that could have been better. So, but at the same time, I am faced with a situation where I accidentally paused, so I'm going to have to split. So if the editing looks a bit wonky, I accidentally paused it. And besides, I'm not going to blather any longer. I too don't use AI to script my content. I speak from the heart. When you, as a teacher, as an educator, are placed in a situation where you have limited resources, you've been told not, but not in a mean way. Like when your administrators say like, oh, we don't have the budget for it, it's not because the school doesn't have the budget. It comes from the ministry. And the ministry doesn't release the funds for it, or say like, oh, we don't have the money for it. We are faced with that situation where we have to find ways to do this. And yes, I know there are so many options. You can create collaborative learning groups. You can create, exchanges between teachers. I know, but all of that requires time and release time, because you can't expect teachers to meet during their lunchtime. In some cases, you can't expect them to meet after school, because, and I know the situation in Quebec is very different. Many teachers are very, I don't want to say strict, but that work-life balance, that is respected. If this hasn't been planned, within the working hours that we are expected to follow, it's not going to happen. So give us the money, release us, and we will not use AI. We will create content for our students that is creative, that is meaningful, that is authentic, because right now that authenticity is lost. using AI. So yeah, so those are my 2 cents. It's more than 2 cents. It's like maybe 12.5 cents. I don't know, but yeah. So I agree with both content creators, with Hank and with Joey the Anime Man. Have yourselves an awesome day.